But instead, they just blasted videos that said overtime all over the internet. And we started gaining hundreds of thousands of followers.
So how did overtime come about? Like, was it just an idea? Was it?
Oh, I was working at WME and we bought IMG. IMG is the largest seller of sports rights. And as a result of that, I got to work a lot with some of the professional sports leagues. And in 2014 or so, they were telling me, like, we're really concerned because young people don't watch 3-hour games on live TV. And even though I can say that now and everyone's like, of course, 10 years ago, I don't think people really thought that. And I watched games. I have a large TV. I watch the Eagles. Like, I was like, really? And it was this insight. And at that time, I'm running the digital talent division. So we have like 250 of the biggest YouTubers and creators who we represent. And I'm like, okay, well, everyone's watching them, but they're not watching live sports. You know, the average age of most of the professional sports leagues in this country are in mid-40s, mid-50s. Golf is even higher. And I was like, okay, so all of America, all the young people's attention is here and it's not here. Maybe there's an opportunity right up the middle to figure out how to bring that together. And I will say, of all the different companies that I've done, it's the first time I ever started a company where I knew who the audience was, but I didn't know what the product was. And it was just like, I don't know, I was running around filming stuff. And then I was like, let's go film some high school basketball because we have iPhones and we're able to get close enough to them. And then we posted some videos and we're like, oh, and we just learned and learned and learned until we figured out what worked. And then that's what we made. We made what the audience wanted to see.
Well, how did you and Zach meet each other, and who else were there others at the earlier stages? Like,
yeah, it's a good question. So Zach is about 28 years younger than me, I think. I was like, I need somebody who's young to start this business with. Like, it doesn't make any sense for somebody in their 50s to start a Gen Z sports media company. So I emailed a bunch of people I knew who were young, and one of them said, I don't want to do it, but I went to high school with this guy who seems like he would be great for it. And then we met and we vibed and we clicked, and I had a couple people who I had worked with at my gaming company who joined us. Zach went to Hebrew school with somebody who we hired. We met somebody at a career fair. It was like a small but mighty ragtag bunch of people with not very much experience except for me, and that's kind of what made it great.
Wow. I mean, when you think back to those original days, I mean, being able to just, what was the video that kind of was like, oh my God, like that, now this is what it is. Like
They were kind of like two, well, there were three, if you like, there's three videos that were kind of seminal. One was a random video of some kid that we posted, and it got a ton of views, and that kid wasn't famous or ranked or anything else like that. It was just a funny video of him playing basketball or something happened. And that's the moment we were like, oh, you don't have to film the number one player in the country for it to be relevant. The second was, we were at a tournament in Vegas, and LeVar Ball threw a basketball at LaMelo's head when he was yelling at the team, and somebody from my team was there with an iPhone, captured it, we posted it, and ESPN rebroadcast it, and we were like, oh, the iPhone is actually a valid way. You can even make stuff that's on television. And I think in the kind of early days, it was just discovering Zion Williamson and just having two people who live down there film every minute and every game, and all those clips just propelling overtime everywhere because no one else had them. And we were in every gym at every game, and he's probably one of the most explosive and legendary high school players of all time. So it's kind of like, the first example is like, what do you learn? The second example is like, wow, this kind of like iPhone thing really works. And the third example is like, oh, when you nail it, everyone else posts your video. And what happened was that people came to us and asked us to license the video. And we said, you can actually have it for free if you just leave our watermark on it. And people were like, free? You guys are idiots. But instead, they just blasted videos that said overtime all over the internet. And we started gaining hundreds of thousands of followers.
Smart move. So we talked a lot about basketball. but I also know that you have OT7 and you're in football now.
We're big into football. I mean, now is basketball season, but football is definitely the other leg of what we do, and we have a lot of stuff that we're about to announce. But OT7 is spring football, or traditionally 7-on-7 football. We've modified the rules, but in high school, you can see a great player, but there might be no one else or only one other person on their team who's also great. Not that they're not good, but there's just not a cluster of top talent in the same way sometimes there are in other sports. And so in the spring, 75% of the players who participate in our league are Power 5 players. Well, one year, I think we had the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quarterbacks in the country. We had, I think, 7 starters in college football had played in it. So it's really good because it's very fast paced. It's helmetless, so you can see their face. And then it's the greatest kind of combination of all of the top players, which means it's super interesting to us and our fans, but it's also interesting to people who love college football. And we have an announcement that's going to happen shortly where you're going to see us do something in kind of traditional tackle football and more. And I think in 3 or 4 years, overtime in basketball and football is going to basically have the platform for national competition. And I think what's going to happen is that everything that's happening in college, right? Nobody needs me to tell them there's realignment of the conferences, and it's not even geographical anymore. Now the Big Ten and the SEC, and they control media rights, and they've created this thing, and now they're going to have a schedule, and now you have a college football championship. All the changes that basically turned it into something that was slightly more professional, watchable, and organized are going to happen in high school. Not for every team, but for the 10 or 20 national teams. And we plan to be the leader in basketball and football for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's exciting. I mean, did you think about, so you think about keeping and sort of staying in the high school world, or?
I think so, in the sense that, like, we're number one in our lane. It's the clearest market opportunity. And at the end of the day, we have over 100 million followers, but they want to see 18, 19, 20-year-olds. They don't want to see 28-year-olds play some sport they've never heard of. So I think it works well for our audience and what they expect. And I think one of the hard things about startup sports leagues is you either get people who can't make the professional league, or sometimes you get people, it's their second job, or it's a niche sport. We have the 2 most popular sports in the US with people who a percentage of are going to go on and become famous. And so you have everything in place that I think works to support the growth.
And so you've got, on the basketball side, going back to that, you also have your women's program as well.
Yep. And that is super fun. There's a couple things. One is the women are really energized, and we get a lot of Paige Beckers, all these people who come back and coach and support them. In the championship game, the crowd, which was mostly young women, was so loud that you couldn't hear the announcers on the broadcast because it was so loud. And I think the other thing is that it's really still pretty undercovered. And so you'll have a player who will come in who will go from barely ranked or whatever to be the second ranked player in the country. Well, did that person get that much better in the course of the league? No, there's just not as much attention paid, and when they're put on a national platform, people realize how good they are. So it's been a huge mover for us. We're super supportive and bullish on women's sports, and I'm kind of constantly looking for other opportunities for us to invest there, because clearly we have a really big audience for it.